Visiting Antarctica is for many people a once-in-a-lifetime goal, ambition, or dream. I'm about to share with you the 5 very best things about going on a cruise to Antarctica. Hi, I'm Gary Bembridge, and this is another of my tips for travelers. I'm currently, as I record this, sailing back from a phenomenal 10 days visiting Antarctica. I've been cruising on Silver Sea Silver Cloud expedition ship, and I want to share with you and show you what's really good and why. One of the best things about an Antarctic cruise is the fact that it is so unique, it's so special, and you are so privileged to do it. Only about 45,000 people go to Antarctica at the moment every single year. Very few people actually get to go to Antarctica and really experience this magical, remote and unusual place. So the best thing about it is you're going somewhere that's not overcrowded. It's still very special, it's very unique, it's very unpredictable, it's very different. You feel when you're there that you're part of something absolutely magical and you're doing something that's unique and special. And that's one of the best things for me about an Antarctic cruise. It's not like going everywhere else where everyone's been. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best things about Antarctica are the landscapes and the scenery. Every day I thought I'd seen the best scenery that I was going to see in Antarctica. We'd moved somewhere else and it was an even bigger revelation. It was almost as if every day was building to something bigger and better. It is absolutely magnificent. We went to incredibly diverse places. You're going to see huge, big soaring mountains, glaciers everywhere. Here, everywhere you look, there are glaciers, and they are huge and magnificent. It just really is absolutely magnificent no matter where you go. It is just remarkable, and I don't know if the images will ever do justice to what you actually get to see. One of the best things about Antarctica are the penguins. There are so many penguins wherever you go, and I learned so much about penguins. We mostly saw chinstrap and gentoo pigeons because of the time of the year that I went. There are no land-based predators in Antarctica, so the penguins are very comfortable with people being on land. And although the regulations say you should try and stay 5 meters or 15 feet away from penguins, they didn't get the memo and they will move right around you. What I didn't realize about penguins is their rookeries and where they live is very far and really high up from the sea, and they have to walk huge distances and climb over quite rough terrain, and they create these highways which they use to go up and down. If you get in their way on the highway or you block the highway, they are not happy at all. And one of the big things we were told is avoid the highways. Penguins have right of way. When they swim, it is quite remarkable. They can move very fast. So gentoo can go up to 30 miles an hour. And sometimes we were cruising along on the ship and they were swimming alongside the ship with this kind of ducking and diving that they do. And they were keeping up with the ship at all times. They are absolutely phenomenal. They are gorgeously cute creatures. Penguins are everywhere, and we just saw huge amounts of penguins, and they are absolutely phenomenal. So the third best thing about Antarctica is the other wildlife. You do see phenomenal amounts of wildlife, and particularly whales. So I went towards the end of the season, which is the end of February, beginning of March, and it's a really good time to see whales. So we saw humpbacks up really close. So right in the Zodiacs, humpbacks were swimming around us and diving down, getting food. When we were cruising through Galash Channel, we saw a huge pod of orcas, also known as killer whales. Pretty much everywhere we went once we were in Antarctica, whales were somewhere around and we could see them everywhere. The other thing that I absolutely loved seeing was seals. And we saw a wide range of seals, some of which were floating on the various bits of floating ice, others were on land. So we saw the leopard seals. They're very deadly. They are big predators of penguins. They're also very popular food for the orcas. We also saw Weddell seals, crab-eater seals, which don't actually eat crabs, and we also saw Antarctica fur seals. So seeing these big, amazing creatures is quite remarkable. If you're into birds, you also see a wide range of birds, both on the crossing down on Drake's Passage, but also once you get to Antarctica. But for me, the third best thing, without a shadow of a doubt, were the whales and the seals. The thing which for me was quite a surprise was the diversity and range of different expedition experiences on an Antarctic cruise. So we had three really buckets of things that we did. The first of which was basically sail by on the ship. So we were actually on the ship and we cruised by things like the massive A57A iceberg, which is 11 nautical miles long, it's 5 nautical miles wide, and it's 30 meters above the sea and 300 meters below it. We also cruised through one of the most scenic parts of Antarctica. That's a Lemaire Channel, which is famous for its very narrow channel. It's blocked for large parts of the year with sea ice. Absolutely beautiful place to sail through, and there's loads of leopard seals and different types of seals on the various ice flows around and through that channel. The second set of expedition experiences are on Zodiac. So these small Zodiacs, we have 8 to 10 people and one guide, and we would head out on various different excursions and stay on the Zodiacs. So sometimes it might just be cruising through a beautiful bay, getting up close to the glaciers, or perhaps cruising past some of the different research stations that are down in Antarctica. And of course then Zodiac cruising around looking for whales, particularly humpback whales, which would come really close to the Zodiacs and dive all around us. Another great example of a Zodiac excursion was in Plano Island. This is an area where the various currents and the winds drive and push a lot of the big icebergs, and so you almost have a iceberg graveyard, or certainly an area where there's all these beautiful and unusual ice almost sculptures. Sometimes there'll be the odd surprise where, for example in Plano Bay, they had sent out a separate little Zodiac which had hot chocolate champagne and cookies. So there'll be little surprises sometimes when you're out Zodiac cruising. The third bucket then was Zodiac landings, where you head out from the ship on the Zodiacs and of course step on land. And there were three main types of Zodiac landings that we did. The first of those were ones that got you to really get up close and intermingle with wildlife. So that might be penguins, there might be seals, and the wildlife were right around you when you went on your various walks. The second type of landing were hikes, and some of these were pretty strenuous. We'd hike up big ice-covered hills. They look like they're covered in snow, but they are actually just really slippery and ice, and we'd hike up mountains either to get incredible views, or sometimes at the top of these hills would be rookeries with penguins, sometimes even with still little fluffy baby chicks. Another great example of a hike was on Deception Island at Telephone Bay, where we hiked right up the crater of a volcano which had really destroyed big parts of the island. The other type of Zodiac landing, which I really enjoyed as well, were ones where we first of all either went and visited a research station. So for example, we went to Verdansky Station, which was a Ukrainian station since 1996. Before that it was a UK station which they sold to the Ukrainians, and the people there spend a whole year working there. Or we'd go and visit a old historic research station. So for example, there was Wardy House, which was actually quite near Verdansky, which was a really ancient old research station, which now is a museum. The other type of excursion which was really fascinating were historic ones, and this was mostly at Whalers Bay on Deception Island, where the whaling ships would come, and on land there were some processing facilities for the whole whaling industry. It was deserted in the 30s when the prices just collapsed of whale oil, and so you now have these slightly surreal remnants left behind in Whalers Bay. The experience of Antarctica is phenomenal. It beat every expectation I had. Nothing that I'd read or seen prepared me for the magnificence of Antarctica. Those are the best things, and there are a few worse things. However, the worst things are never ever going to get in the way of making it a magical experience. I hope you found this helpful, interesting, inspiring. If you did, I'd love it if you watched many more of my Tips for Travelers videos. They're designed to help you make the most of your precious travel time and money, whether it's on land, on sea, or on the rivers of the world.